This is a beginning exercise in creating a mortise and tenon joint. And first, I'm going to create a post which is 6.5 inches high with the line tool, typing 6.5, and then 2 5/8 width, and closing in on the rectangle of the post. Then double click and make this a component called post. Use the push-pull tool to give it thickness, edit the component, and push it out 1 1/4. I'm typing 1 1/4 inch and hitting enter. That gives me a post. Of course, it does not have a tenon, a mortise at this point. We'll do that later, but let me check first. We're looking at a style that is back edges, and you can see those dotted edges in the background there. Okay, let's create the rail then. The rail is 1/2 inch down from the top of the post, and it's 8 inches long, so I come out on the red axis 8 inches, down on the blue axis for the width of 2 1/8, come back on the red axis, up on the blue, and close in the rectangle. Again, double click to select everything and then make it a component called rail. It needs thickness, so we'll edit the component, use the push-pull tool, and type 3/4, enter. These are the two components in this exercise. Now we need to edit them with the mortise and tenon joint itself. So I'm just checking here. This is I've got the scene already set up, assembly, and so we can click on the assembly scene at any time to get back to this point. Now to create I'll create the tenon first, and I'll bring the rail, a copy of the rail, using the push-pull tool, hitting the control key for a copy, and create the tenon on this end of the rail. The tenon has a shoulder which is 1/2 inch down, and this is 3/4 inch thick, so we're going to come with a 1/4 inch tenon. That means 1/4 inch off of each edge. And now we go with the line tool, we can draw in the boundary of the tenon. And with the push-pull tool, pull that out and type 1 1/4 inch. Hit enter, and that completes the making of the rail with the tenon. This is extra now over here on the right, and we can erase that copy. And now you can see in back edges view or in X-ray view, see the tenon on the rail as it enters into the post. But here's a slide bar in case you don't see the edges, hidden edges there. You can adjust that to give it clarity. And now I've edited the post, and with a line tool just trace over the boundary of the tenon as it enters the post, and then use the push-pull tool to push the mortise out to the end of the tenon. Close the component, and there is now a mortise and tenon joint. Now what's left to do, this is a pinned mortise and tenon joint. So I will make the holes for the tenon pins, and the dimensions are shown on the drawing, and 5/16 off the edge. Edit the component, use the circle tool, and these tenon pins will be 3/16 inch in diameter, so I make a circle at 3/32 radius. Again, 3/32 radius. Use the push-pull tool and push that hole right on through to the back edge of the post. I like to show the center point at the center. I right click on the circumference and pick point at center, and that gives me a little mark at the center of the circle that's nice to have in locating where the drill bit goes. Now for the tenon pin itself, I'll just trace over make another circle right over the top of the hole, 3/16 inch in diameter, and make that a component called tenon peg, and pull that, edit that, pull it out 2 inches in length. And then let me just move that, pull that out a little bit away from the post. There's one more tenon pin. Make a copy of that. I'll select the tenon pin, choose the move tool, go over and click on the center point of the circle, and with a control key copy another one down to the position right over the second location. So that completes the tenon pins and the post and rail. I can label these components with the labeling tool. It just automatically picks the name of the component that I assigned, and I'm just checking the okay, I'll select all of these components now and copy them down the red axis and make an exploded view and a dimensioned exploded view. So let me just pull the parts apart, the rail down the red axis, and create a new scene, plus create this scene called Exploded. Update, and now there's an exploded scene. And choose the dimension tool and begin to locate the primary dimensions on this view. The tenon or the mortise is 1 inch down, and it's 1/4 inch in width, 1 5/8 long. Here's the distance from the edge, which is 1/4 inch. And I have the dimensions set so that the labeling always faces the viewing position. You can set up your dimensions in any way. I like to show the labeling facing me as I look at the drawing. The tenon pin is 1 3/16 down from the top edge, and the separation is 1 inch. So that pretty much identifies all the dimensions in the post. And now for the rail, this is the length, which is 8 inches. That does not include the length of the tenon, 2 1/8 inch wide. And here's the 1 1/4 inch length of the tenon. The thickness is 3/4. Not much more to do here, except that shoulder is a 1/2 inch down. There's no good place to locate that dimension. I think I can just move the rail a little bit more on the red axis and get that dimension in there, and also get the 1/2 inch dimension for the shoulder. And I like about that location, so I'll go back to the scene and update the scene. And again, locate the identifiers, the post, the rail, and the tenon peg, or tenon pin. And that's, oh, I forgot this dimension, the thickness of the post. I think that completes all the dimensions, and I can save this drawing.